and pulling away slightly as the pictures just start coming back to me a little bit there. It's we are on the final lap. Dalton leading by quite some distance. Richard, he's had a very dominant display, and Nicky Taylor has sort of been close enough at the start, but not really close enough to challenge anything after the first 5 minutes or so. I think Andy Carroll, I'm sort of trying to get into what maybe he thinks. Obviously, we might be able to have a chat with him afterwards. If he remains in third place on the track, he'll come into the commentary booth and we can ask him. But there may be a suspicion that if he would have given Joel Lasker the position back if Paul Laramie wasn't so close to them. That's, potentially sort of a thought process that may have gone through his mind. But we can't deny that Elliot Dalton-Ayres has been absolutely rapid and he's been dominant, has he? A pole position and what looks like a race win, Richard.
Looking very good, isn't it? There's Nicky Taylor in the background. So final few corners here at Oulton Park, the first of our 2 races through Deer Leap. The virtual checker will await our first double winner of our season in the CAMMUS JCW Mini Cup, powered by Phoenix Racing. Congratulations to Elliot Dalton-Ayres, who takes it from Nicky Taylor in second position. Third position is going to go the way of Andy Carroll. I'll tell you what, I might switch around our normal podium protocol, and just by the way of the people we've spoken to, if you want to, Jack, if you want to do 3 and 1, and I'll do 2 on the podium for the race.
Absolutely, yeah, no, don't mind that at all. But the checker flag has waved. Everybody else seems to be coming across line. I know our timing system on the left, the timing tower, looks a bit of it out of whack. Well, the server's been having 1 or 2 issues. Don't worry, that's what you expect. Where you expect people to be is where they will be when the points get tallied up. Don't worry about a thing. A-Lock Irongar, unfortunately, won't be taking 3rd place, and Nathan Smith in 4th. So, yeah, a bit funky on the timing tower, but Elliot Dalton-Ayres did end up with the victory. And with all the checkered flags starting to fly, I think it's about that time that we head over to have a word with our very quick sponsor before we have a word with our top 3.
Thanks to Evnia for their support of this wonderful championship, and a super race there. And a 3rd place interview, Jack's going to do the honours with Andy Carroll.
Yes, Andy, hello. You probably had the busiest drive out of anybody in the top 3 there. Talk us through it from your perspective. Are you sort of a little bit exhausted after that?
Yeah, a little bit hot and sweaty after that one. But no, it was good fun, and yeah, it was a struggle to get past Joel, as it always is. Yeah, I kind of wasn't sure. I don't know if you saw if the overtake was on stream or not, and if you saw it or not. And yeah, I was kind of, then I saw that Paul had caught us right up, and I was at 50-50 as to whether I'd let him back past or not. And I thought I'll take my chances in the steward's room.
That's interesting, really, because I did sort of suggest that maybe Paul Laramie was a thought process. I instantly said, once the move had done, I think he should give it back. And then, all of a sudden, I realised that Paul Laramie was a little bit too close for comfort, and I thought, oh, maybe he's waiting just for it to be reversed afterwards, so he didn't have to worry about Paul. Was that sort of true, then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when it first happened, I was like, oh, I kind of wasn't quite sure if it was my fault or not, but yeah, and I looked in the mirrors and looked on the timing. I could see that Paul had literally caught right up behind us, and I was kind of like, well, probably can't let him past without sort of giving Paul a chance to get past as well. So as I say, I just thought, you know what, if it goes to the stewards and I get a penalty, then so be it. But yeah, just from then on, just try to keep him behind me.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised now. You pretty much said that if it happens, probably the first thing on Monday. But yeah, it was a good race, Andy, though, ignoring the incident and everything like that. You were trying to do everything to put Joel off, weren't you? You were going looking up the inside, looking around the outside, little lunges here, there. Was it just a way of trying to get him offline?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see certainly as we got further into the race, a couple of corners, he was really struggling, I think, with the ballast and struggling with the understeer. So I was just trying to sort of position it so I could try and get a better exit and sort of, be in a position to put a move on into the next corner and stuff. But it was really, really tough. He obviously took some good defensive lines to keep me behind him as well.
Well, Andy, you going to jump up a fair few places after that one. We won't say how many until after the second race, because obviously reverse grids can be quite hard work. So big congratulations on the third place. It may turn into fourth, but it was still very entertaining for us to watch anyway. Congratulations.
Thanks, Jack.
Great stuff, Jack. Well done, Andy Carroll on third position. P2, Nikki Taylor. Hello, Nikki. How's it going?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Congratulations on that one. Not a lot you could do about Elliot, but dogged stuff from you. You kept him very much in sight, if not able to physically challenge.
Yeah, it seems to be the occurrence tonight is that I'll do a really quick lap, and then Elliot will do like a 10th lap quicker, and it keeps seeming to do that, because in practice it was the same, and then in quali I thought I got pole with a 3, and then he goes ahead and does a low 3. So he's a bit annoying tonight, but yeah, he was just driving really, really good, just consistent, and I think it was every lap I was looking at the gap, and he was gaining 2/10 on me every lap. I seemed to gain it back in a bit at the end, but the weight and the tyres were just dragging the car off a cliff.
I think championship-wise, you managed to claw 4 points back on Joel in that one, if my maths are right, and if I've got the finishing positions right. So championship-wise, not a bad thing.
No, championship should be all right, but to be fair, I'm not focused on the championship until the last 2 rounds, because at the end of the day, anything can happen. But I was looking at the positions, and I was like, if Andy can get past Joel here, that's a massive help. So thank you for doing that, Andy. And then I did look at Paul being really close to him at the last lap as well, and I was like, oh, I could actually gain some good points here. But yeah, at the end of the day, if I just consistently keep doing what I'm doing and just put in decent results, then we should be all right.
That's cool. I want to just move away from the virtual side, and how are preps going? You don't, obviously, you're not forcing you to tell me what you're doing, but how are preps going for real world racing this year?
At the minute, not great. We haven't really got a seat yet, and trying to figure out what race series we're going into and what we can do. But we've got a big thing lined up, which we should hopefully see if that comes off. But if it doesn't, then we might just have to have a year out and just see how it goes for 2025.
I wish you all the best with that, and excited to hear what's going on. And if you aren't racing, come and say hello. Make sure you're around the paddock and talk to us. Obviously, lots of work to do in race 2 from the back of the field, and they're crucial, aren't they? The moves from the back, and Oulton's not the easiest track to overtake on.
Yeah, I don't like Oulton. I've made this very, very well known at VRRC for the many time we've come here. It's my least favourite track in the UK. I just don't like it. But yeah, of all the reverse grids, this is going to be a hard one because it's tight and there's going to be carnage. There's been carnage in every reverse grid so far this season. Sorry, but yeah, we're just going to have to just pick our way through and see how it goes.
Well, congratulations on P2, and we look forward to possibly talking to you a little bit later on. Nikki Taylor, P2, well done, mate. And over to Jack for our winners interview.
Yes, I'm just about done rolling my eyes at Nikki Taylor saying about how much she hates Oulton Park yet again for 17th season in a row. To be fair, I always say it about Croft whenever we go there, so I can't blame him. Yeah, Elliot Daltonaires, big congratulations on another race victory. I think you're the first person, Richard was saying, to win 2 in this particular championship, which is not bad going, considering you've only been here for 3 races.
I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't really watch the first 2, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, coming from obviously the victory at Castle Combe and now victory here, yeah, it seems to be going fairly well.
Yeah, you jumped your way up to top 10, like we mentioned in the poll interview. How far do you realistically think you can get up? Because you got 1 drop round, but then you have to carry a DNF or DNS or however you want to say it. How far do you reckon you can get? Do you have your eyes on a potential prize?
Yep. I'm gonna try everything I can to try and get in that top 5, top 3. But you know, I think this is probably from 2 wins. I think I've equaled my all-time greatest amount of wins in a championship just from 3 races. So yeah, honestly, maybe top 5, but I'm gunning for the top 3.
Well, I love it. I like the optimism, Elliot. And, well, to be honest, it's not really optimism; it's expectation at the rate you're going, isn't it? So, congratulations on the race win. We'll let you get over and start concentrating on what will be a fast, frantic, and probably chaotic race.
Yep. Cheers, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Well done, Elliot, Nikki, and Andy on the interviews. And I think it almost brings us back onto time. So I'm gradually getting the hang of looking at the timing and the schedule as we go through on these. It's taken me a couple of events to do that, but race 2 we are looking forward to with Stuart Henderson on pole position, John Jones alongside, if the timing screen is correct, Dave Heasman 3rd from Mark Stokes, Sam Walton, Simon Thorpe row 4, Nathan Smith and Alok Iyengar next up from the PSC, and Kenny Press, who we haven't mentioned today in the top 10, but getting ready for 25 minutes of racing action. And is it going to be a long wait? Long enough for them? Out go the lights. So Stu Henderson from pole position with John Jones, the Isle of Wight man, will be coming down to see you next week. He is slotting in 639 into 2nd position as they go through Old Hall Corner for the first time. A little bit of a wide moment there from Mark Stokes, who goes over the grass, manages to get back on the tarmac. And I think that's Mark in 3rd position. So a decent enough recovery from him, being chased by Dave Heasman in the 95.
Yeah, Stuart Henderson looked like he was wanting to take Knickerbrook rather than Cascades there. He was so wide. But he's going to be under attack now by John Jones as well. But no, here comes Heasman diving up the inside of the island hairpin. Well, there's the chaos that we were talking about. But actually, a lot of drivers getting away with it. In fact, first place, Stuart Henderson has driven away somewhat. But second down to what I believe is 6th. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a headache to see who's going to come out on top. I thought someone was going to try and dive every single person. Now I think that was Mark Stokes wanting to recover a little bit up into 2nd place. We're talking about some of our championship protagonists. Joel Lask is up to 15th. There's been no major charges through the order just yet, which suggests, Richard, that there haven't been any major incidents either, which is exactly what we want to see, because no one needs a Castle Combe again.
No, we don't. And, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised. So well done, everybody, on that first lap. I don't know whether Mr. Hayden read the riot act before the second start or not, but it seems to have done well. And we've got Smith up into 2nd position. So Nathan Smith in 2nd, the white car with the blue mirrors. Oh, little tag on the back there of Dave Heasman by John Jones. Jones leaves the door open, and through on the inside goes Mark Stokes. And round the outside now goes Jones as they go into Old Hall once again. Goodness me, I tell you what, Henderson is away here, isn't he? And you know, making the most. This is exactly what you have to do on the reverse grids. But Stokes and Henderson having a very, very good race of it at the moment.
Yeah, he is properly getting involved, isn't he? Somewhat. Josh Martin, Tom Churchhouse have reignited their battle for that about 10th place position, which is exactly the same place as where they were doing it in the first race. As Stokes goes very wide, and there's a few too many people going for that apex a little bit too quickly, unfortunately. Lee Pearcey, Stuart Walton, 5th and 6th position, but the front 2, Nathan Smith particularly, is really on some pace now, aren't they, Richard? And Stuart Henderson, you feel like his time is going to be short-lived at the front of this race.
He's certainly under a bit of pressure, isn't he, now, as they head up Clay Hill. So let's see what Nathan Smith can do. I actually had to scroll my computer down on the qualifying to say, where is he? I was expecting him to be a little bit further up the grid than he was earlier on, but that can turn itself around into as he makes the move on the inside, right on the touch on the grass for Stu Henderson. And that was real world stuff, wasn't it? On the grass as he recovered. He's trying to recover. How many places he lost? He's down to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Oh, big shame, but under a little bit of pressure. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any contact leading up to that, but a wheel on the grass. He gyrates. Dave Heasman now will go back into 2nd position with John Jones in 3rd, but it's Nathan Smith who is our early leader.
Gyrates, that's a word I'm going to use again for when I see someone spin. Lee Pearcey up the inside, though, going into Lodge, I believe that is actually, and he's got into third place as well. John Jones, though, he's not one for taking something lying down. There's no gap there, John Jones. Please don't try and go for that again. Oh, I thought he was going to be later on the brakes then as well. But Lee Pearcey gets to the apex, gets it hooked up, and doesn't actually get anywhere near the drive that John Jones does. He might look around the outside, actually going into the hairpin as someone is stage exit right. I think that's Mark Stokes going off again. Josh Martin versus Tom Churchhouse as Craig Curtis goes round. Craig Curtis is into the tyre barrier, or the Armco, or whatever that is in the sim world. And unfortunately, and there's Mark Stokes again.
Stokes is away, so Smith going through. It's Dave Heatsman still in second position. Pearcey and Jones next up. Are we going to see Josh Martin grab another reverse podium? He's in fifth at the moment. It's only going to take a couple of tags and tussles to see him up into a potential third place here, but it's Nathan Smith, who is away in the 11 car. Is he the Kentish man or a man of Kent? I can never remember which way round it is, and I'm not looking at social media to see. Kentish man, is it? Rich Hayden got it sus. The commentator hasn't, but Rich Hayden has. There is our race leader. He's been in second position. Good gap between those. 4 seconds at the moment. Lee Pearcey in a handy third place at the moment, with John Jones dropping away a little bit into the clutches of Josh Martin. So Martin here about to try and challenge for fourth place. Behind him, we've got Tom Churchhouse. Then Joel Lask in seventh place. Now remember, Lask and Taylor, top two in the championship. Lask is seventh. Taylor down in 12th. Seventh place is 12 points. And 12th position, I think, is 5. So Lask is pulling back the points that he lost on race number 1 as things stand at the moment.
I wouldn't really worry about the maths, to be honest, because they're probably going to go chop and change in the next 19 minutes, aren't they? Josh Martin versus John Jones. Jones, again, going defensive. You don't get past him easily. This man will not give up. But Martin and Churchhouse, they were fighting over 10th position. Now they're fighting over 4th, aren't they? So together they seem to be working their way forward, even if they keep falling over each other at the same time. Speak of the devil, going into the Knickerbrook chicane. Oh, Josh Martin goes for a big trip over the curb, and Tom Churchhouse will have the inside line for Knickerbrook, and I think he doesn't have it, which I don't really know how he's come out of that one behind Josh Martin, but that is the way. So John Jones holds on to 4th, Josh Martin just about clings on to 5th. Tom Churchhouse frustrated in 6th position as Lee Pearcey and Heasman, Dave Heasman, of course, do battle over 2nd place. Lee Pearcey almost running a little bit too wide there, but Nathan Smith, Richard, has driven off. 5.7 second gap, and Heasman is only slowing everybody else up as well here through his defensive driving and maybe just straight up not being as quick.
Yeah, he's doing great, isn't he? And just looking down, I was wondering what happened to Alec Ironguy. I don't think he took the start, but I had him down to commence in 8th position, but not showing. So other runners like Thomas Potter at the moment. Teapot is 20th position. Brad Smith, where is Brad? 14th, I think, making a little bit of progress, down to 15th. So just interesting to catch up on some of the names that we maybe don't always focus on. Dave Heasman still there from Lee Pearcey. Back with Josh Martin. Martin still coming under pressure, with Joel Lask now about to try and make the move and get some more points. And the 11 car, Nathan Smith, has had a big moment and has lost the lead to Dave Heasman.
Yeah, that was a big moment there, wasn't it? And it looked like it was going to collect a lot more people. Joel Lask makes his way through to 4th position. In fact, that means he's ahead of John Jones and the likes of Josh Martin and everything as well. In fact, no, sorry, not John Jones, because John Jones is in 2nd place, isn't it? But Josh Martin and Tom Churchhouse. Joel Lask cutting through the order and where places other people can't seem to manage. But that is a big shame for Nathan Smith. He was 6 seconds in the lead almost, and he saw it all wither away just with a mistake. I'm not entirely sure what happened, Richard. Whatever happened, it's not helped him in the slightest. Lee Pearcey goes into 2nd place, and John Jones gets Tom move out the way rather vigorously.
Yep. Off goes Chris Blakey. Wakey for the marshals, or virtual marshals, to sort Chris out. So it's Heasman, Pearcey, Lask coming from virtually the back of the grid up into 3rd at the moment, which is superb. But Dave Heasman, lovely to see the guy who joined us for the first time last week at Castle Combe, and doing a grand job here, fending off Lee Pearcey, who's going to go the long way round on the outside. Pearcey realises he can't do that. Lask has got Nathan Smith all over him. I think Smith has got some good confidence from his run away for that 6 second lead at the front.
Oh, no.
He's recovered well. Oh, and off off goes the race leader. How many more race lead changes are we going to get? He's
Well,
stuck in the gravel. He's beached. That was my fault, wasn't it, for bigging up Dave Heasman. I'm not going to big anybody else up now.
Well, to be fair, Lee Piercy had made the move, but it just seemed that Heasman just chucked it off all on his own fruition, to be honest, as it looks like Joel Lask now really wants that race lead off Lee Piercy. I think Piercy's going to want to hold on to it for as long as possible. He's going to do that for at least probably the next lap, because Nathan Smith is gunning one on Joel Lask. Joel going all the way out the outside. He's been in this situation before, and he's off. He was having that sort of incident with Andy Carroll just a lap ago. He didn't really learn his lesson. He held on to that piece of the track, and he got nudged off as well. To be fair, neither of them, I think, were Joel Lask's fault. But it's just the situation you end up in, don't you? So it's a bit of a shame that one. Lask is all the way down into 11th place behind the likes of Dalton Ayres and behind, crucially, Richard, Nicky Taylor.
Nicky Taylor. So, yeah, it's all turned. And Nicky Taylor, who hates Oulton Park, has made it through into 4th position from the podium. Incredible stuff from Nicky Taylor. And sometimes the dominoes have got to fall the right way for you. Let's, again, not speak too soon. I said I wasn't going to big anyone else up, but Nathan Smith's recovered very well. He had that 6-second lead, and he's in a strong position, as is Josh Martin now, looking for the lead. Dives, had a look at the inside, can't quite do it. Now goes to the outside run, so chasing Lee Piercy. Good duo here for the lead. The pressure is really off these two, because remember, we had Joel Lask up with these guys going for the lead, but now he's that way behind is Joel Lask, down in 11th position. So this has changed the complexion of the race again. And Josh Martin will look in his mirrors. He'll see Nathan Smith, or he knows Nathan is quick. But also, hello, we've lost our leader through. Into the lead goes Josh Martin. Lee Piercy going wide, and new leader again.
We saw John Jones as well off at Cascades on the outside. So that's a bit of a cork in the bottle for a lot of people. Moved out the way, shall we say. And Josh Martin, you're right, is... it was a bad moment for Piercy going wide and just allowing Martin to get through. Not sure who's actually the quicker on the road here between these two drivers, but Martin will be hoping to extend that one as Nathan Smith, you're right, with a recovery drive, chases after Piercy this time, with Churchhouse in 5th position after getting separated from Josh Martin. At once upon a time, it seemed impossible that you could separate those two. Well, the rest of the drivers have seemed to have managed it. And then Nicky Taylor in 4th place, and he got a couple of seconds back to the likes of Churchill. So it's yeah, a big swing really of championship points that have gone on right now as Smith tries to fend off the attack from Nicky Taylor, but Taylor looks very interested in taking this 3rd place.
Yeah, he's having a go, isn't he? Whether he thought, did that get physical? I didn't really see any contact, but it looked like Nicky just backed away momentarily. Nathan Smith still there with the blue cross on top of the car. The yellow machine busy chasing Nicky Taylor, looking to get a double podium. Is he going to be the only man to double up on the podium today? It's certainly looking as if he might well do. Might even be able to get further up, because Piercy is not really being dropped by Josh Martin at the moment, and we're pretty much only at the halfway stage of this race, with Martin leading, Piercy 2nd. Here's your top 6 in shot. Smith, Nathan Smith, that is, in 3rd place. Nicky Taylor 4th. Tom Churchhouse is in 5th from Brad Smith, who's coming up well. Simon Thorpe, I was going to name check, but he drops down to 11th. So it's Craig Curtis now in 7th position, racing, of course, in memory of his dad, Steve, who we're all thinking about today. And then Joel Lask now up into 8th position, ahead of Andy Carroll. And Blakey is next up in 10th.
Simon Thorpe, actually, he said he dropped down to 11th. He dropped down all the way down to 16th. And that'll happen when you just go straight on at the island hairpin and end up in the barrier, unfortunately. Not entirely sure how he ended up there, but that is where he ended up. Nicky Taylor up around Nathan Smith. Now puts the smoke flying left, right and centre to try and drive through that, maybe hindering the visibility, depending on what settings these driver has on, of course, because you can turn smoke and stuff off if you are a driver with your own personal PC, because smoke does take up quite a lot of processing power on the computer. If the computer's not quite good enough, you can turn those graphics off, which is a big advantage that they don't necessarily get in the real world either. If someone blows an engine in front of you, you're going to notice it in the real world. But it looks like that Josh Martin, you're right, hasn't driven away from Lee Piercy. And I think Nicky Taylor and Nathan Smith would probably have the pace to challenge for the top step if they allowed each other to get going and get gone. But at the moment, Nicky Taylor doesn't seem intent on that. He wants to get through and be the leader.
He does, yeah. Nicky was saying, I did love the way he said, yeah, I'm not thinking about the championships, but then he sort of added the addendum, didn't he? He said, well, actually, I did think about how the points were going, and these drivers do, if they can think about it, they will do. There is Andy Carroll in 9th position, Joel Lass, a handy wingman to have, perhaps on their way through the lower reaches of the top 10 to try and get up towards the podium again. 11 minutes 18 on the clock as they come down from Hilltop into the Knickerbrook chicane, Hislops, and then the chicane up Clay Hill they'll go once again. So Martin, what's the gap? 9/10 of a second, sort of seesawing 8-9 tenths depending on what part of the track they are on. Piercy now coming under a little bit of pressure from Nathan Smith. The white car will be appearing a little bit wider, a little bit bigger in that rear view that the second place man has, and in fact he's going to have a look as he got him. I think they're side by side at the moment for second position, and it's going to be Smith working his way back through. He's got it, he's back up into P2. Nicky Taylor was too far back to make that move through as well, but will be keen to try and get onto a podium now at the expense of Lee Piercy, now that we've got Nathan Smith up into P2, but Piercy is fighting back, grabs the inside, has a go back into second position. Super stuff from him. Good clean racing thus far. Nicky Taylor can smell a bit of blood here and looks up the inside as we go overhead. Drops back a wee bit here. Nathan Smith wanting to try and get back into second position. The gap, though, the race leader has got the gap out to 1.9, whilst these three squabble over second position. This is great stuff for Josh Martin.
Yeah, Josh Martin is living his best McDonald's life and loving it right now. Is Nathan Smith slides up the inside. I'm enjoying it too, I won't lie to you, because these three are really giving us something to shout about and get on the edge of our seat about. Lee Piercy, especially in this second race, has really been very, very entertaining for better or worse. I think on the most part, it's been for the better, hasn't it? As he hops and skips and jumps his way over the chicane curbs, and Nathan Smith has to follow in suit. But look at that, it's not just a three-way battle for second place. You got Brad Smith, you got Tom Churchhouse, Craig Curtis, Joel Lask, Andy Carroll, all waiting in line to try and be the next best thing to Josh Martin.
Yeah, what a race we're having here. Let's see if the DS Commercials car can go through on the inside. Has a little look too far back. He's going to have to defend from Nicky Taylor. Norfolk and good. Nicky Taylor, here he comes, challenging hard in the red and yellow car, but it's Piercy still in second position. Battle on for third. Brad Smith wants to get in the mix as well. He's in green. Taylor's got his nose in front, but they go through D-Elite. Piercy still in P2. Taylor and Smith side by side. Another Smith coming up into the mix as well, as Nathan Smith got the inside run down into Old Hall Corner. Yes, he has, I think, at the moment. Taylor's going to flick back, or is he? No, he isn't. Is there a little touch between the two cars there? Taylor still challenging, and side by side they go. Brad Smith coming up to play as well. Taylor does get his nose in front for second position, but he's on the outside line, and Nathan Smith makes that count. Now, Taylor's got to watch for Brad Smith coming up as well as they head down towards the island hairpin again. In the distance is Josh Martin, out of shot. Here they come then. Smith still there. Where's Piercy now? He's dropped right the way back out of it, hasn't he? So this is all for P2, and it's Brad Smith now up ahead of Nicky Taylor as they go up towards Hilltop.
I can only imagine that Piercy has got to drive through for potentially track limits, because he has just disappeared. He's all the way. He's not. He's in 12th place. He's not DNF'd or anything like that, and we didn't see him fall off the circuit. So I can imagine he's been cutting a few too many track limits, or been on the outside of turn 1 in the final corner. So yeah, a bit of a shame for him, but it hasn't dampened this particular battle, has it? Because Nathan Smith still leads it. Brad Smith has made his way through. Nicky Taylor, Tom Churchhouse, Craig Curtis, all involved, and Joel Lask will be fighting, scrapping, desperate to try and catch up to the likes of Nicky Taylor and rescue and extend those championship points on his rival as well. This is very, very exciting. Josh Martin, again, is sort of driven off with it, and he hasn't driven off anywhere near as much as I thought he would. If a couple of the quicker drivers get through with 7 minutes to go, I'd still be slightly worried about it. Craig Curtis going through on Tom Churchhouse on the inside, going through Lodge now. It's going to be very, very tight as Brad Smith has pulled away just a little bit from Nicky Taylor. Craig Curtis into 5th position, and that should be 5th, all sewn up, done and dusted as well. Just about ahead of Tom Churchhouse, who looks like he has an answer, Richard.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor got a wee bit tail happy, didn't he, a couple of corners ago, and that lost him momentum off of the battle for 2nd and 3rd place. But good stuff from Craig Curtis here and Tom Churchhouse. Churchhouse giving him a good workout. Remember, Churchhouse 3rd in the championship. Coming into this round as Smith challenges Smith. Brad on the inside, dives down the inside, a late lunge. He goes through, going wide is Nathan Smith. Nicky Taylor will now again get a whiff of a podium in his nostrils as Nathan Smith just lost a little bit of momentum courtesy of that tap, and it's all going to be played out in the steward's room, isn't it, over the next few days for sure. Physical stuff, but Brad Smith up into P2 from a quiet start to the meeting. But having said that, Nathan Smith, again, remember, the early leader some 20 minutes ago, is fighting back and challenging for second position. Side by side they go. Nathan Smith in white, Brad Smith in green, and has Nathan got the move here? He has, he goes through on the inside, out onto the grass, goes Brad Smith, and that is surely going to be a retirement. It's a load of places lost for him. That's exactly what Jack Oliphant was saying earlier on. If you go off, you're off here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, and especially around the outside of Druids. He did manage to get on without making contact with the wall, which, thank God for Brad Smith, because otherwise it may well have been a retirement. You're off in a big way if you go into that wall. Nicky Taylor, though, all over the back. Nathan Smith's work is not done here for the rest of this race. He's just swapped one rival for another, hasn't he? And Nicky Taylor is not the driver you want to see in your rearview mirrors. He's not going to give up. He's going to go for everything, and he's very, very decisive when he decides to go for a move. So Nathan Smith needs to be perfect, and that's not what he is going through Cascade. There's going to be a run here, Richard, for Nicky Taylor, who I think just had to come off the throttle as Nathan Smith rejoined the circuit at just the wrong time for Taylor, but he's going to have a look at the inside, going into the island hairpin. Craig Curtis got very close and late on the brakes. Joel Lasker's Curtis's position. Nicky Taylor holds on to second place. He's gotten ahead of Nathan Smith as Curtis does battle with Joel Lask behind.
Yeah, Nathan Smith losing places, 2 laps on the bounce, and he'll be kicking himself for that. But having said that, still driving very, very well indeed after that early run, and he's going to be learning all the time, is Nathan Smith. P3 at the moment, but on for potentially 2 second positions is Nicky Taylor. He is now 5 seconds down behind Josh Martin. Taylor at the head of the chasing group. Nathan Smith next up, and it's Craig Curtis. Joel Lask might fancy his chances with 4 minutes 35 to go of a podium as well, having not had one in race number 1. He'll be keen to keep Nicky Taylor in his sights, but I tell you what, Nathan Smith isn't finished here, but he's in that perennial position of, does he chase, does he defend? He's got to do both here, and at the moment I don't think he can defend from Craig Curtis, who's in 4th looking to 3rd, but Curtis as well has to defend from Joel Lask.
Yeah, it's all a bit difficult, especially when there's contact involved, which I think is exactly what happened between Craig Curtis and Joel Lask just then. Luckily, Curtis kept his foot on the throttle and he was able to carry on. He's in 4th position, hunting to try and get up onto the podium. Joel Lask obviously wants to be ahead of Nicky Taylor, but that's going to be a big ask now as Taylor extends this lead on Nathan Smith by about half a second. 3 or 4 minutes to go. Curtis holding off Joel Lask as well for the inside. I'm just waiting to see. Yeah, he parked on the apex and got a nice exit away. Josh Martin is probably the happiest person on this circuit, not just because he's in the race lead, but because he's just missed all of this meleeing behind him, hasn't he? He's not had to worry about anything. Just hit his apexes. He'll be easily the most boring well, I'd say if he'd be the most boring interview, it's Josh Martin. There's no chance of that. But he would probably have the most dull race and stories out of this one, because the rest of them have thrown everything at each other, and we've loved every single minute. It's felt like a very un-Oulton Park race, Richard, hasn't it, really?
It's been really good, and I think there will be a queue to get out because everyone's staying to the end to make sure that they watch the closing stages of this one. 3 minutes on the clock as we watch Craig Curtis in 4th position, the Primex car. Nicky Taylor at the head of the group, P2 at the moment. Nathan Smith still running well. Remember, he won race 2 at Silverstone, the first of the rounds that I had to miss, unfortunately, so I didn't get to call Brad's race win in that one, but one of 6 different race winners that we've had thus far in the series. And looking at the moment to have a little bit of breathing space as Joel Lask tries his hardest now to close down and make a move on Craig Curtis. He sticks his nose on the inside, which converts to the outside for the next corner. Now has another quick look under braking. He'll try and just see if there's a gap akin to the one that we saw Nathan Smith leave a couple of laps ago. He doesn't do that to Craig Curtis, and he's making Lask go right the way around the outside onto the grass. Can't do it. We'll now maybe have a look down the inside as they come down towards the chicane once again. Josh Martin 4 seconds ahead of Nicky Taylor. Nathan Smith comfortable-ish at the moment in 3rd place with just under 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I don't think Josh Martin really had the pace to win this if it wasn't for that battling, was it? Because he has been reeled in somewhat by a second already as Nicky Taylor has gotten free of everybody else. One driver who I've been keeping sort of an outside eye on for the majority of this race, Richard, is our race 1 winner, Elliot Daltonez. Now, when I first glanced at him, he was in 16th. I glanced at him 2 laps later, he was in 13th. I glanced at him again, he was in 16th again somehow. And now he's up to 6th. I've absolutely no idea how he's managed it. I have no idea what he's been going on. He's probably got a plethora of stories to go through. But ultimately, good points picked up by him, isn't it? Considering that, 10 minutes ago, as I said, he was in 16th place. Yeah,
superb stuff from him. We really have seen some great performances by a lot of really good, talented drivers in this one. And there he is, Elliot Daltonez in 6th position. Ahead of Andy Carroll, so he's dropped Carroll in this one as we've got 53 seconds on the clock. Josh Martin now 4 seconds clear of Nicky Taylor. Nathan Smith still in P3. Here is our race leader who's going to grab another podium interview in the Dean Martin Contractors green livery. Out of the Island hairpin we go, and there's a challenge on now for that 3rd place. Craig Curtis is teeing up the right line here as they go up on Hilltop. Got down the inside. That's been the Achilles heel, hasn't it? The Island hairpin for Nathan Smith. He's managed to get it back. He got a good run out of the hairpin and over Hilltop and maintains it, but looking very squirrely there. And he's going to see the place. So Curtis goes 3rd now, courtesy of Nathan Smith, who's going to try and fight back.
Oh, no.
Smith's collected it all up. And there's big contact behind them with Daltonez and Joel Laskell getting involved as well.
Yeah, I was about to sort of breathe in and have a big sigh there, but Daltonez didn't turn Joel Laskell around. Nathan Smith and Craig Curtis, I think there was a little bit of contact as our cameras cut to them at the Island hairpin. Here's Josh Martin. It's going to be the checkered flag for him. How it all settles for 3rd place is really anybody's guess, but Josh Martin, who got ahead, he's not the quickest. He's had a couple of slow laps, but he hasn't needed to be the fastest. He's in the right position, and that is 1st place, the top step of the podium. Nicky Taylor in 2nd place after a very hard-fought race, and it looks like it's going to be Nathan Smith to cross the line. Craig Curtis has dropped down a couple of positions and ends up behind the 4th place man of Joel Lask, and 5th place, Elliot Daltonez, our race 1 winner. And Craig Curtis unfortunately comes home in 6th position after attempting on that final lap of the race to get up onto that final step of the podium. It wasn't to be and drops down into 6th. Andy Carroll in 7th, Tom Churchhouse in 8th, Sam Milne in 9th, Kenny Press finishes in 10th, and Johnny Oulton probably reminisces on a night that could have been after race 1, after being so strong qualifying. Didn't really have it in race 2, unfortunately, to get through the order. As the checkered flag flies, we will have a chat to all 3 of our podium sitters in a couple of minutes' time.
Thanks to AOC, one of our excellent selection of sponsors. So we've got a big thanks to everyone who sponsored the championship and getting involved with us. And if your company wants to get involved, get in touch with Rich Hayden. We've got our race interviews now for our podium, and stepping on to the 3rd step of our virtual podium. Well done, Nathan Smith. Well done, mate.
Thanks very much. Yeah, that was hard.
I was going to say, I said you might be virtually kicking yourself because I think there were 2 moves, weren't there, going into the Island hairpin that you lost out, but you kept fighting back. So is that your Achilles heel on the track?
Yeah, I can't believe I've done that, to be honest. At the start as well with Joel, we both turned into the chicane.
Yeah.
I sort of bounced off the curb into him. Couldn't really do anything about it, so I feel bad for him. And then got such a good lead. I thought, we could be on for a win here. And then just completely missed my break point. Went off, and I thought, well, I better turn around and reverse. And then had Nicky coming up behind, who I tried my hardest to keep behind, but he's fast and he knows where to put the car. So. And then towards the end, it was just an absolute scrap. I didn't know whether to look left, right. There was someone everywhere.
What was good from our point of view is that whatever was thrown at you and whatever happened to you, you bounced back from it. You weren't letting your head drop.
No, I wish I gave this a story as old as time. I'd never give myself enough practice before the race. I literally jumped on straight into qualifying, not driven this car on this track before. And then throughout the race, just got progressively quicker in race 1, but I was just quite far down the pack due to incidents. And then obviously race 2, I felt faster, got myself out there, lost all that. But I was on the pace, definitely. That was good fun.
Obviously, your brother's in the race as well. Have you got a side-by-side setup or in your own spaces in the house? How does it work? Do you coach each other?
No, we both got our own homes, so he's in his house, I'm in mine.
Okay.
I do try and give him some pointers, and like he does me too. In race 1, it was really unlucky. Obviously, we started pretty much side by side, and I saw him get taken out behind, and I did feel bad for him. And then I saw him disconnect, so I don't know what happened in race 2, but I'm sure we'll catch up.
Oh, for sure. Well, Nathan, well done, mate. Good to see you in third place, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium again in one of the later rounds. Nathan Smith in third position. And our P2 interview is going to be by Jack.
Yes, Nicky Taylor, congratulations on second place. I feel like you had to work just as hard for it as Nathan Smith was just illustrating for us. How are you feeling after that one?
Stressful? I mean, that must have been probably the most stressful race of my life, because I got a really good start. Like, I was working with Joel and we got through a bit, and then in Cascades I saw a flying car go into me, which was always fun. And then literally through the first 5 minutes of the race, I just kept getting shoved off. So I ended up with 3 track cuts with 19 minutes left, which I think is why throughout the first half of that race, I was being really, really conservative of where I made moves on like Nathan and that, because I was just so scared to get another cut would get me a drive through. But it's good because I've gone for the last few weeks. I felt a bit down with reverse grids, with not being able to get through as what Elliot, Kyle, when he was here, and everyone else has been able to do. And to finally get back on the podium in a reverse grid is a good feeling.
I have to say, Nicky, coming on then, and I feel like this over the last few weeks as well, you sort of showed this more often. Like, I feel the excitement and the enjoyment from sim racing that it can bring, obviously. That's the whole point of why we do it and everything like that. Are those sort of races, although you said it's mad, it's stressful and everything like that, it's sort of why you do it, though, isn't it? It's the best of sim racing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have preferred to get a bit higher up at Donington in the previous rounds, but it is what it is. And the reverse grids with 20 plus cars on each round we've had this championship have been manic, but they've been really, really good. The driving standards this week, I think some people have said in the chat aren't the best, but from where I was standing, everyone who I raced with, apart from 1 or 2 cars, were clean and were fair. And Nathan, I had a great battle with him, and I can't remember where I got him, but I just snuck under him and tried to just keep it, because honestly, with the weight and with the car damage I got from the first corner incident, my times just weren't there. But as I say, I was just trying to be really consistent and really clean with track cuts, because honestly, at the first corner, I think I was going about 5-6 tenths slower than what I normally do, just to make sure I don't go wide.
I was going to say, it is always very stressful, isn't it? That you don't want to drive through, because I think that's what happened to Brad Smith, who got into second place, of course. As you guys started scrapping over third, then all of a sudden you're scrapping over second. So you don't want to be that person who ends up going in again. So big congratulations, Nicky. And I think we've decided as well, because it was so entertaining to watch, because you did well in race 2 without obviously you had 2 different races, but both of them equally successful. So, Nicky Taylor, we're going to give you the driver of the round. Big congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for putting on the races with Rich and this week. And it's been good fun. And I'll see you next week.
Fantastic, Nicky. Congratulations. And Richard, I believe you can have a chat to our race winner, who probably had the most boring race out of them all.
Well, he calls himself Josh the Innocent Martin. Josh, well done. Top step of the podium. Nice one, mate. Tell us about your race.
Cheers. It was all right. I've had a miserable evening driving around this track. But no,
Miserable
I
but
did
winner.
that race went okay. Actually, I think I started around 15th, didn't I? Something like that. Worked my way up through the field quite quickly. Apart from when I got up to John Jones, that slowed my progress down a little bit because he's always so tough to get by. I did a brilliant move up the inside of him and going into turn 2. And he somehow hung on around the outside and kept the position when we got to the hairpin. But yeah, apart from that, gained a few places from other people bumping into each other. Got into the lead, and then it was just trying to not get track cuts, which has been the story of my evening.
I mean, we talk about Oulton Park and there not being that many opportunities to overtake, but from what I've seen today, there've been lots of moves, lots of overtakes, and lots of people coming back from overtakes. And do you know what? There could have been a lot more contact than there was, particularly in the opening stages of race 2. And for your point of view, I know you're probably not as happy being on the podium or top step of the podium for a reverse grid race, but the point is, you came from way back, as you rightly said, didn't you, to get that win?
Yeah, and I got all the way through, and I think that's probably the most important bit. Kind of damage free. I had the odd light rub, but nothing major. And I think that's the biggest part of these reverse grid races, especially on a track like Oulton. It's so easy to bump into another car, and just trying to keep your nose clean and keep out of trouble.
So thoughts ahead, obviously next week's Croft, and how does that compare to you? Have you done Croft for real? Because I think you've had the odd dabble, haven't you, for real?
Yeah, well, I'd done mini challenge in 2019, and yeah, we done Croft then, and if I remember rightly, I think I had one or two podiums that weekend. But no, I like Croft. I like Oulton as well. I was just really struggling this week with the track cuts. I just felt like I just couldn't push, and it's so the real penalty, something with it's changed, because normally you'd run wide, you could just back off and it wouldn't give you the track cut if you lost time. But for whatever reason this week it is you ran wide even if you slowed down, like I did on a couple of occasions, especially in race 1, and lost like a second or so. It still gave me the cut, so it was just trying to stay within the limits. But hopefully Croft won't have that issue and can push on a bit again.
That'll be good. Points wise, I mean, I know you drivers tend not to add the points up as you're going along, but coming into this evening's racing, you were 4th in the standings behind Tom Churchhouse, so it's all fairly close, isn't it, at the top?
Yeah, I think I scored better tonight than I was expecting, because a bit like last week, I just didn't have any time through the week to actually get any practice in. So I only done probably about 15, 20 laps last night. So yeah, I was expecting to have a lower score on this one. And when I jumped on the server before qualifying, I posted like 2 laps and I was like down in 16th. I thought, okay, everyone's really fast this week, and it seemed really close. So I wasn't expecting a decent point score this round, but I think it'd probably be in the 30s, which yeah, I'm happy with that. Keeps me in
What would be the
keeps me in
minimum,
the fight.
Josh? Sorry, Josh. Yeah, I was going to say, what would be the minimum sort of time if someone was, thinking of coming to join the championship? What's the minimum sort of practice time do you think that you would put in before a round? To say, yeah, I'm going to do okay with X amount of practice. What time would that be?
It really depends on the track in the car. Normally I'm quite, if all the UK tracks I know really well. I've driven most of them in the real world, so I don't really need to learn where I'm going. So a lot of them, some cars, I'll just click with it straight away, and 20 laps, 30 laps, I'd be somewhere handy. But then other rounds, you could be up towards kind of the 80 to 100 lap range before you've really kind of click with a track and car combo. But it just comes down to really how much spare time I have during the week to how much practice I get in. So yeah, but it obviously the more practice you do, generally the faster it makes you.
Yeah, getting into that rhythm. Well, many congratulations. A great win. Good to chat to you on the podium at last for this series, Josh. And hope we'll catch up a little bit later on in the year. Josh Martin, our race 2 winner here on the Oulton Park configuration. Well done, Josh. We say
Cheers, thank you very
congratulations to
much.
Nikki Taylor, P2, double P2, and our driver of the day, and Nathan Smith, who took 3rd position. And that's where we are. Next week, the Mac is back. Andy McEwen will be taking over from my slot. Luckily for you guys, you've got Jack Oliphant here who will be doing the honours again. Jack, thanks ever so much for your company again today. Been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to Rich Hayden. Everyone who's watched, hope you've enjoyed it. And, of course, all of our on-track stars. They really have been. Thanks ever so much for the entertainment. Great racing you've put on. So from all of us here at the halfway stage of the CAMMUS JCW Mini Cup, powered by Phoenix Racing, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.